inside of Christ, the law. He fulfills the law.
Yeah.
So the whole way that the people looked to the Ark of the Covenant as where they should follow, where the covenant, that's where they went. The Ark of the Covenant, the same as Christ, because he came to fulfill the law, and so where Christ goes, we follow. And in the same way, like Adrian said, when before the Jews went, they sent out the Ark of the Covenant before them when they were crossing over Jordan. So same as us, we're to put Christ, or the Ark of the Covenant, out before us, and he leads us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so cool. Like it's so multi-layered, man.
Yeah, and it's like if you look at the Bible, like you think like God thought it more through how everything just fits into place.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even the tabernacle and the layers and of the steps of walking in, purification and all of that, all represents Christ as well. And just the whole everything. Like I reckon every verse, every passage in the Bible, just you'll find Jesus somewhere in there.
Yeah, yeah. And even like the little things, how like talks about how the sheet was ripped in two, but it says it ripped from the
top, bottom.
Top to bottom. It was like God ripped it. It wasn't man.
Yeah.
Man's on earth, or whatever, from bottom to top.
Yeah.
But God ripped it, so it went from top to bottom, and it's like an image of God coming to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he, from up there, separated the petition between man and God.
Yeah.
It's so right, bro.
I heard something about the Jews when they're angry, they pull their hair and they rip their clothes from the top. And that was like a similar symbol of when God's kind of not happy.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy at all. That's the same thing actually Joseph dad did when he heard that his son was.
That's right. Yeah.
Was
Yeah, Joseph's father.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He ripped his Superman thing.
Tunic. Is that what they called it back then? Tunic?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raiment?
No, I love it, bro. I love it when you've read a passage or you've heard a passage preached like 30, 40, 50 times.
And you see something you never seen.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's like, what? How can I not see that?
The Word of God is alive, eh?
Yeah.
And it's always this like fresh, new every morning. Every time you read it, it's always got something new, fresh.
Yeah.
You can read it 50 million times. That's why it's different to a book, because you can read a book once and you get bored of it. Whereas this, it's got all these hidden message behind a message kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like that's why I reckon like the devil, he tries to, with all these subliminal messages, it's just pretty much mimicking what God has already done.
Yeah.
Like in the Word of God, everything just falls into place. Spiritual, just it's really good.
It's real interesting because, again, Jacob Prush was talking about, in Jeremiah, it says about how in the last days, only the wise will understand, or basically only be given, the understanding will only be given to the wise. And he talks how Revelation, the book of Revelation, the way that prophecy works is basically when you study, for example, where Daniel lines up with Revelation, as you study, he said, true revelation is a curtain that is just slowly being lifted up. And so you start to see what's behind, exactly, and you start to see what's behind the curtain. As you study more, the curtain goes up more and more and more. But it won't just the curtain won't just lift up and you understand everything.
Yeah.
And it has to be lifted. And he says in the end days, as it says in Jeremiah, I'm pretty sure, that only the wise will understand. And so as we go further on towards Christ's return, these things will become more and more apparent to those that study and those that love the Lord.
Yeah.
But those that don't, the curtain remains down. So as the end times start to unravel and we start to see more and more, like, the temple's about to be built, like we talked about before, gay marriage, all these things. It's all signs of the end times, but they can't see it because the curtain hasn't even started lifting for them. Do you see what I'm saying?
It says a similar thing in Matthew when Jesus, when the disciples come up to him and say, what's that parable about the seed? Can you explain? Kind of thing. Matthew 13, he explains it. He says that's why the blind can't see,
Yeah,
and those who will see will see.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's better to see than to not see. And I had a revelation on that as well, like how God speaks to us. God speaks to us through everyday life. Only Christians, the only people who have that relationship with God will see what God is saying in everyday life. For example, Jesus spoke a parable. Everyone heard, but not everyone got the message.
Yeah, right.
And that's the same thing. Spiritual things that we go through in life. Everyone will see what happens in that person's life, or this person's life, but not everyone will get the message behind the message.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
And that's where it talks about us having this, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, all of that in Corinthians. And it talks about, but God has given us through His Spirit the deeper things of God.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it says, but who knows the mind of God? But this mind is within us.
Yeah, that's right.
But we have the mind of Christ.
Yeah, for real.
And only those people who kind of exercise that spirit mind will, like, for example, everything that's happening with you guys going to New Zealand and stuff, you know spiritually this is God, He's working in us.
Yeah, yeah.
Where if it's just a normal, someone else is like, oh, this is cool, you know, this is a good day.
Yeah, it's working out for us.
Good days are up ahead for us, you know, kind of thing, but they don't know the message that God's talking to them through
Well,
that.
it's funny you should mention that, bro, because I was just talking to a lady at work about it, and she's married to this dude who's a complete atheist.
Yeah.
But obviously she's not. But she's not a Christian by any stretch. But I was actually talking to her, and I just started saying about how, I said, like, we'd have a job to go to, nothing, rah. And she's like, aren't you worried? And I was like, well, no, because